Alright, what's up everybody? It is the Gaming Monk with TheDonJuanCarlos, and today we have an
What's good?
exotic tier list from D2 with all the season of the Chiz and information that we have. So in these last 2 weeks, if you are going for your GMs for Conqueror or Gilded Conqueror, any of these, well, not any of these, but a vast majority of the weapons that we are going to recommend are going to be able to easily take up your exotic slot and make it worth taking up your exotic slot, in my opinion. Um, no, DJ, how are you this morning?
I am fantastic. Woke up, got some coffee, and I'm ready to proceed to give everyone all this information that they need so that they can carry their GMs.
Exactly.
Gamer.
So this is a list of all the weapons and exotics in D2 for Season of the Chosen that can take mods and have mods intrinsically on them, such as Laminate here or Levy's Breath. Now, also, we have some exotics that are just good to have in here as checkpoints for
Don't forget,
power.
Bastion will be getting unstoppable next season.
we we'll, we gotta wait. We gotta wait until we see what the bots are before we get too excited. Anyway, so there are just some good heavies in here that uh, are kind of where on the scale in reference to everything else is, because it gets kind of hard in Destiny to have two different archetypes of weapons and pit them against each other in a lot of situations, in my opinion. So that's just a good way for us to show basically a very tangible way of how strong these exotics are. So 1K DJ, how'd you feel about 1K in our GMs? I didn't run it
Uh,
like at all, but I
nah,
don't
I
think
did.
I didn't
So
run it
what?
at all.
Yeah. 1K is it's good. It does what his name suggests and what 1K is. The only problem with 1K is you only get 7 shots,
Mm,
and with the rocket launchers being as strong as it is, 1K doesn't do the damage you think it should do. Like it doesn't a decent amount of damage. However, compared to things like lasting impression royal entry and lasting impression code duello, even ward of coil you can get away with. And I haven't tested deathbringer, but the way that rocket launchers are now with the 30% damage increase, which should probably get toned down at a certain point, but we're not going to talk about that one.
mm-mm.
uh 1K is good, but it's not. You can still get away with running it, but it's not like the stellar, like above the rest. So it's right there in like A tier. It's still heavy. It still does a lot of damage.
Mm. Now Ace, Mister little can't be wrong, because I just feel like it's Ace, and it
Yeah,
does what Ace does,
yeah.
and
It,
it's consistent. It may not be phenomenal for what you want to bring, but it's consistency and
it's
unstoppable,
consistent.
and it's consistent perks and damage.
Yeah, it's consistent, unstoppable. You got to remember that Ace also gets Firefly.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then as soon as you get a kill, you start doing the damage of a 120 hand cannon with
Mm-hmm.
extended range. And we're just
Mm-hmm.
gonna act like that's fine. Because you
With a
know,
140.
yep. And you can just pretty much just DPS as long as you get a kill. You can DPS
Mm-hmm.
literally any red bar or
Mm-hmm.
even yellow bar with the damage from
Mm-hmm.
Ace.
And then you just reload off of that kill, and you got Memento Mori again. So yeah, I think I'd put it in B plus. Straight up, just
Uh,
Ace, like right in the middle of the road, in my opinion.
that would be A then
Then
because
why is it
A
B plus right in the middle here?
A is the focal point of balance. B plus is it's right under the focal point of balance, but you still need to build around it. You don't really need to build around A's. You can just bring it.
Yeah. Anyway, Anarchy S tier.
Yeah, yeah. There's no conversation about it. Anarchy is literally the one of the best, if not the best, heavy exotic in the game.
Mm.
It is the set it and forget it. There isn't really many weapons in the game that allow you to do what Anarchy does. It gives you
There's a
constant
reason
DPS.
why. Like, let's
It,
be real. There's a reason
it does.
why. There's only one.
Uh,
Like, like,
it's constant DPS. You set it and forget it. You can have constant area denial, so you can like trap up any zone that you want to lock down, and any enemy that walks into it, even at high level activities, they'll take a billion damage because it does 6k, uh, 6k to red bars, 4k to anything out, yellow bars and higher,
mm-hmm,
and it's just extremely obnoxious. You get two ticks, and then you can chain the lightning off two different targets, and it gives you the full anarchy damage.
mm-hmm,
You can kind of just do whatever you want with anarchy. It's never a bad choice. Even in proving grounds, it sticks to the shield generator for the final boss and the shield generator for the first boss in the first area for proving grounds. And you set it, you literally leave, and then by the time anarchy finishes up, as soon as you done clearing the rest of the ads in the area, the shield's down, and then you're back ready for boss DPS.
mm-hmm.
So it anarchy is broken.
Very.
That's just the truth.
And it got an ornament,
It,
so it's even more broken now.
yes, yes, it's even more broken. That's just the truth. Anarchy is disgusting.
Yep.
Not to say that anarchy, you shouldn't use it. You should 100% use anarchy. Use what's available to you. But we gotta call a spade a spade.
Exactly. Uh, Speaking of calling spades, Skyburners is garbage. like,
I'm gonna let
like,
you handle this one, dog.
like, in my opinion, Skyburners is the worst exotic in the game because it is outfunctioned, outclassed, and outpaced by everything else in the video game. You look at everything else that can take up your exotic slot, right? Everything else. You notice the theme? Not really any of them are catered towards one enemy type. Most of them are just like, hey, an enemy's an enemy. Like, let's go, traveler noises, traveler gun noises. But Skyburners, it's like, hey, what if we had a slug, right? And we had two different RPMs, and this doesn't do crit damage, and you have to ADS to change the RPM, and it just explodes. And then there's this one dev at Bungie that made this gun, and everybody else was like, yeah, he's leaving the studio soon. This is his parting gift. He's still running around the EDZ with his fucking gun. But no, it gets ATB, yes. It does more damage against Cabal, yes. But it's just like Cloud Strike also gets ATB, and it's better against everything.
Yeah.
Like there's
So
Skyburners
here's
is
the
a
other part.
special piece of garbage to me because I'll remember sitting on levees and getting that catalyst done, and that'll be the only memory I have of Skyburners because it infuriated me. Like, and
Here's
it's
the
like I'm not
other
using that gun
Skyburner.
again.
Hold on, because yes, Skyburners. Yes, it can create war mine cells. Yes, it's full auto, and you can ADS to do more damage, but you can't crit with it, I'm pretty sure. And yes, it has tracking, but like, why would you ever use that? It shoots slow. It doesn't do enough damage. Yeah, you do bonus damage against Cabal, but it literally the first three exotics we put on the tier list, yes, two are heavy and one's a kinetic. They still do more damage and are more efficient to run in high level activities because just the way that they're built.
Mm-hmm.
Skyburners, in fact, is built different, but it's built like trash.
Yeah, it's like if they just reworked it right and made it a new gun, I'd be so down. But like the pacing of the game has evolved so much since the beginning of the game. And like there's not many weapons from the beginning of the game or even like there's so many like year one exotics that just aren't good anymore because the game has evolved so much. Like Vidgewing a little bit. I'm just kind of like, man, like
Oh
messenger
yeah, no,
voices.
I have done extensive testing of Vidgewing in the Crucible. Let me preface
Yeah.
this. Yes, and of course, 6v6 is different from elims and all that stuff. However, the to test the metal of a gun, you have to be in the most chaotic game mode, honestly, and learn how to manage the chaos with the gun. If the
Mm-hmm.
gun, if you can manage, if your own skill offsets the amount of chaos that happens in that game mode, but a lot of the fights that come down to it are because the gun does not do enough damage or it's like super finicky. The gun is not good.
Mm-mm.
Vidgewing, I know, everyone's favorite. They're like, oh my god, I remember running this in Trials of the Night. Yeah, that shit is ass.
There's a reason why you
Yes,
ran it in Trials of the Nine and not anything that's recent D2 content.
yes.
Like,
You can
there's a
trade. You can
reason.
trade with no time. Of course, this isn't a PvP tier list, but it like this matters in the state of Nightfalls because nothing kills the Guardian faster than another Guardian. Yes, Vidgewing can trade with no time. However, if the person using no times backpedals, Vidgewing immediately loses all of its damage.
Pretty much. And it that follows the same principle of ads. I feel like Vitchwing, like the second you start to like pop off with it, the ad's like, ah shit, let me just, back it up like a school bus, and then like you deal no damage. Like I just I just feel like it can't compete a lot of the time. Well, Skyburners, but we'll talk about this later. Skyburners, I just feel like it is it was a cool little aha funny idea that just Skyburners is the old unworked unbuffed Tachanka of Rainbow Six Siege of Destiny 2. I mean, that is the equivalent of Skyburners. A very niche group still loves him to death, but like as soon as he's gonna get the rework, it's gonna be crazy. But like right now, Skyburners is still running around with his Unmira shielded turret and just chunking. So yeah, I'm putting it in C tier. And then and then and then Bad Juju. How do you feel about Bad Juju, DJ? Because I
So for
personally
bad juju,
have loved it.
personal bias aside, bad juju is one of my favorite guns. But looking at it objectively, bad juju is in fact freaking broken. Cause man, that gun. First of all, here's what we have to say. Here, one of the qualifying rules for any gun to be good, especially in high level PvE content, is one thing you have to consider is ammunition. And what does bad juju do? It gives you ammunition from the ether,
Mm-hmm.
from just killing stuff. You don't
Mm-hmm.
even have to get headshots. It's just
Mm-hmm.
free ammo all the time, and it has swashbuckler on it. Essentially, it's a better version of swash because it's
Mm-hmm.
it's stronger and it gets more juiced, and it's full auto, and every stack of string of curses that you have increases the amount of super energy you get
On
per
kill.
kill, which also stacks
Like
on
things like Phoenix Protocol.
yeah, it stacks on things like Phoenix Protocol. It stacks on things like the Elemental Weld that gives you increased intellect for 30 seconds. Like, Bad Juju is broken.
Yeah.
And no one talks about it because it's a lightweight frame pulse rifle and not a lot of people have access to it. But Bad Juju is, in fact, sleeper broken
Mm-hmm.
for any activity. Yeah, it's not flashy. And yeah, you're just like, oh, it only has 27 bullets. And you feel like you might not do enough damage, but it doesn't matter. Once you get a kill and start ramping, you just kind of eat everything.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it.
I mean, yeah. So,
Uh,
in my heart, I think it belongs in A plus.
yeah, no, I was gonna say A plus as well, because
It's
the
just
only
broken.
reason it's not an S is because it's lightweight frame. Because if it hit a bit harder, it'd be absolutely broken. But that's the way that you balance that specific gun. Because if it got any stronger, it would literally just break the game.
Yeah, very true. Borealis, the
Ori,
sleeper, one of my favorite, one of my favorite fucking snipers from all of Destiny 2, and it's actually pretty decent this season because it gets the ATB. And
Yeah, talk to
since
him
it
about Bori.
since it changes all the elements, you can just have it on your energy slot all the time in your strap for whatever activity you're gonna need it in. Cause it's like, oh crap, you're running up a Warden strike? Like, let me just have my Borealis still equipped and pop all the shields that I need to. Oh crap, we're running an arms dealer and we need to pop the 3 or 4 arc shields that the captains have so they don't ice us when we get on our sparrows. Let me click this button twice. Like, it is the Swiss Army knife of sniper rifles. If energy sniper rifles, if you are not familiar with how strike layout shields are, that is the exact part of Borealis that I love. And that's how I used it. I used Borealis for like a good part when I started, like a good consistency about consistently using it for a good part of my time when I started playing D2 because I didn't really have anybody to play with and I had to do all the shield pops myself. So I was like, Borealis can do everything and it's a cool sniper. But so I like learned where all the shields were in strikes and like what shields were in each strike. So Borealis helps with that because it lowers the learning curve of strikes, and it also gets ATB now. And ATB procs ionic return, so you get ammo from the ether. But I mean, it is.
Don't forget the damage buff that
Oh
you get
yeah,
from popping shields as well.
yeah. That's a nice just passive perk. I like everything else more. I could honestly care less about the damage increase. There's so much crap that does it, like surrendering. I'm just like, man, I just want that bullet back more than anything. Cause like I've found that like I'd rather have consistent damage increases like surrendering or something like that, or like a div, than something that's like kind of finicky sometimes. Like one for all in my messengers, about as far as like go for like a finicky proc, if that makes sense. But no,
Yes, it does.
I would put it in A or B plus, high B plus.
Uh, I put it in A. It's fine. It's sniper rifles. Here's the thing, right? Because sniper rifles uh have the benefit of just having ATB, so that ATB on sniper rifle alone, a lot of the time is enough to bring a weapon up. But depending on which weapon it is, will determine whether it flexes up or flexes down. But the
Mm,
anti-barrier sniper rifle is just that important. It's such a drastic change from last season's unstoppable shotgun because it was essentially unstoppable useless.
yeah, it was
Because
Inferno
if you're
Whip, but
that
on a
close,
shotgun.
yes, if you're that close to any unstoppable, you are most likely dead. And you're just better off stunning it across the map with a levies, a hand cannon, or literally a pulse rifle or anything else
Pretty much.
because unstoppables just one tap you.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of like their whole thing.
Mm-hmm. And Cloud Strike, our
Oh yeah,
new
no, Cloud Strife
favorite
is fucking
boy.
broken, bro. That shit is broken.
I personally think it's
Uh,
ass. Honestly, I think that shit's cracked.
ye- I would also agree, but let us explain why
Oh yeah,
Cloud
yeah, yeah.
Strife is broken.
Oh yeah.
So, Cloud Strife, for those of you that don't own it and are new to the game and are interested in doing high level nightfall activities, Cloud Strife is an arc. I think it's arc rapid fire frame
Mm-hmm.
sniper rifle. So it shoots at about a pace of 140
Mm-hmm.
and it has 7 bullets in the magazine. Now, the intrinsic perk of Cloud Strife, every precision kill that you get spawns in a beam of lightning similar to how Thunderlord works. If you don't know anything about Thunderlord, you just start spraying stuff down, and every kill you get spawns a an arc of lightning, and as you're firing on a target, it has a chance to spawn lightning as well. Uh, However, for Cloud Strafe, if you get 3 headshots or 3 precision hits in rapid succession, it actually spawns a cloud of lightning, and the cloud of lightning that it spawns is obnoxiously big and obnoxiously strong. Because Cloud Strife with anti barrier, the lightning cloud itself, when you spawn it off of 3 precision hits, pops anti barrier shields like instantaneously. And Cloud Strife is honestly, if I'm keeping it a buck with you, it's kind of stupid and obnoxious all the time because the leniency there's like a high leniency for the triple tap for Cloud Strafe. So you even if you get two right away, you still have like 3 or 4 seconds to get the fourth one and still proc the freaking giant cloud. It can crit with Sundering Gaze. So if you're doing like a master law sectors, you can essentially with Sundering Gaze one tap any law sector final balls for no other reason that it's just Cloud Strife and it can crit now
Yeah.
at range. It's good for you can just like pop a single ad and essentially just clear out an entire room if you hit your shot. Like yeah, it rewards you for hitting your shots, and it goes above and beyond like 90% of the time. And it shoots at 140, so you can literally just spam it as fast as you want in certain activities.
And
So
my favorite part about it is it doesn't have a catalyst yet. like like
that is true.
Bungie's only gonna make it more cracked. Like like imagine if they gave it triple tap. Like you'd be able to
Yes.
get off a whole other proc. You'd be able to get off
Yes.
9 shots
Which means
every
you have three
time.
procs per magazine.
Exactly. Like I got a long shadow with rapid hit and triple tap, and I have to hit all my shots to get a mag size that matches Cloud Strike. Like that's how insane that is to me, and how good this sniper is. And it doesn't have a catalyst. Like any
The
exotic
only
on here that
yeah.
I see without a catalyst, that I'm like, man, this is a good gun. I'm like, God, they gotta add a catalyst soon, or else it's just gonna be insane.
Yeah, like Cloud Strife, for me personally, I think the only catalyst they could possibly give it is triple tap. Because if they give it anything else that boosted damage, it'll essentially start rivaling Anarchy for
Yeah.
DPS. Because the lightning bolts themselves do like can range from 1k to about 4k damage.
Mm-hmm.
And Anarchy with a stick with two sticks does 4k damage per second.
Well,
So
I think it's
or
also based
4.1.
I think it's also based on the like proximity, because I think the lightning storm gets called down and then it doesn't like all track to the target. It kind of has
Yes.
random spawns within that radius, and based on how close the ads are to where the lightning strikes is based off of where the damage is. So for things
Yeah.
like Tanix, when he's got a fat dumpy and you can just sit there and unload rounds and the AoE is about as big as his whole body, he's just gonna sit there and take all the damage. So
Yeah.
that's what's also insane about it, is it's just like sheesh, it does everything that you want it
Like
to.
and a lot of the times ads will be grouped up on each other
Mm-hmm.
at any given moment. So there's never a bad time to just dome a drag in the middle of a strike and having the cloud strike damage literally just clear out almost an entire wave of ads
Because
for
it's
for
literally
hitting one
Dragonfly
headshot.
but better.
Yeah, it's obnoxious to say the least. Uh
It's like Dragonfly and Polaris Lance, like rolled into one and turned into a sniper rifle when you
yeah.
think about it. Like,
Yeah, like I'm not mad about them adding new exotics,
mm-mm.
and this one is actually one of the better ones. It's sleeper OP because it was used at the start of Deepstone Crypt for Tanix DPS, but it's fallen off to like other stuff. But it still rivals all the rockets and Anarchy
Mm-hmm.
because Cloud Strife is dumb, and if you use all 7 of your magazines, you reload faster because it has alloy mag.
And the next time that we're gonna do Tanix, I'm probably gonna use Cloud Strike in my Royal Entry, and because lasting impression's a thing, I'm thinking I can hit Tanix with a lasting impression rocket, fire off 3 shots of Cloud Strike since it's a rapid fire frame, and then switch back to my rocket before it explodes because that's okay. Like, I'm pretty sure you could get that rotation down pretty easily and just be at the top of your DPS board. Like, I don't see how anyone could beat that. You know what I mean? Like, you'd probably need golden gun noises, but I mean, it's like, sheesh.
Even with Golden Gun, with handling on gloves, all you have to do is just slap on a handling for either sniper rifle or rocket,
Yeah,
and you pretty much you can. Or if you're really feeling spicy, if you put on an adaptive ordnance, it gives you handling and reload speed on rocket launchers,
yeah,
as
that's what
long as
I'm.
you have a stack
That's
of charge of life.
yeah, that's what I run all the time because I love it. And with all the orbs that are in that like one little spot, you just keep getting it over and over. So yeah, Cloud Strike's an ass.
Yes.
Crimson
Uh,
Ether
so
ammo.
yeah, Monk doesn't use Crimson. However, I would be considered a Crimson connoisseur.
Yes.
Uh, Crimson is an A plus. Like, there's no if, ands, or but about it.
Oh yeah.
What Crimson does, as opposed to Ace, right? Ace, you go pew pew pew, reload. I got Memento Mori, Firefly, and I get extended range. First off, Crimson has 92 range with Catalyst,
Mm.
which is fucking stupid. Crimson also fires a 3 hard hitting burst that can stagger red bars, which is stupid. Crimson also regens your health after every kill, which is stupid.
Stupid.
And Crimson, when you get a precision kill on any ad, gives you free ammo from the ether, which is, say it with me, stupid.
Stupid. Like,
So yeah,
there's a common
Cr-
trend is it's just ether ammo is fucking broken.
yes, that's exactly why they nerfed Whisper, but because both Bad Juju and Crimson are on kinetic weapons. Crimson, it's a little bit harder to get off because yes, you have to hit a precision kill versus Bad Juju where it's any kill.
Mm.
However, you should really be hitting precision hits anyway in any high level activity because if you're sitting there just trying to spray down a body, you're literally playing the activity wrong.
Yeah.
Because it you will die because they have so much health.
And they
Hitting your
hit
shots,
so much harder.
yes, hitting your shots is like super important. Like yeah, Crimson might not be the flashiest thing. However, the whole package of it being able to stagger red bars, it being a 3 burst weapon that does a lot of damage, it getting unstoppable. So even if you don't stun them with just spraying the enemy down, you can hold it, stun them right quick. If they're trying to chuck a nade, the nade falls on them, and then you can just keep spraying them down with Crimson. And if you get low, any kill you get after you kill something, start your health regen. And if you
Mm-hmm.
get a headshot, it gives you free ammo for the next fight.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of,
It's
kind of
broken.
goated.
I love it.
Yeah, Crimson is one of those. Crimson has always been sleeper. Like with the buff that they had gotten, where it got 3 extra damage in PvP, but they reduced the flinch of it. Like really put it on the map. But it's still one of those. If you know, you know.
Yeah. It's a very niche meta. Now, Darcy and Whisper, I'm going to do them together at the same, like, because what I'm about to say applies to both of them, but there are different features that distinguish them apart from each other. I think Darcy is B, because Darcy, yes, you could do and build into double sniper. Yes, Darcy does a lot of damage. However, I can also just hit it with a royal entry shot and go back to working on ads because I have lasting impression. Like, you have to set up for Darcy and Whisper. And in Grandmasters, there's not enough time to get that traction in a lot of cases. Like, maybe Proving Grounds, right? Maybe where you're hunkered down in the or you're hunkered down on the vehicle bay or whatever.
Yeah,
I can
I
see
mean, you'd be
Darcy or Whisper working and fitting its way in there, but you gotta move so much. I don't think I'd be comfortable sitting in a scope and moving because you don't see everything.
yeah, especially with the tanks that can just hit you from across the map. Because remember, there's two tanks in proving grounds, and a lot of times in those activities, especially when you're obviously you're gonna scope in. You need to scope in order to get range to do damage. But specifically for Whisper and Darcy, the playstyle for both of those, think about the encounters that you use them on. Scourge of Nothing, final boss encounter for
Scourge of the
Darcy.
Past.
Scourge of the Past, yeah.
And it
Um,
used to be Whisper. The meta used to
yeah,
be Whisper before
it
that, and
used to be
you'd
what?
sit further back. Like,
Yes. And then you have for Morgath, you can use Whisper. For Kali, you can use Whisper. Even Riven, you can use Whisper. Sanctify. Uh, what is it? Garden of
yeah,
Salvation,
the
the
Sanctified Mind.
Sanctified Mind. You use Whisper on the final boss. You use Whisper on. Like you have to. They play to a style where you hunker down, you sit in one spot, and then you just beam the boss. The only strike that allows you to do that currently, or the only two strikes that allow you to do that, is Devil's Lair and Insight Terminus.
Mm,
And Insight Terminus is a year one quote unquote map because it was a PlayStation exclusive, and most people did not get it till year two. Uh, So those two are the only ones that you can actually legitimately hunker down in one area and be fine and get the benefit of both of those.
mm.
But Warden of Nothing, you got to keep moving. Proving Grounds, you have to keep moving. Fallen Saber, you definitely have to keep moving. And what's the last one?
Arms
Hold on, I
dealer.
have the game up. Arms Dealer, Arms Dealer, you have to keep moving because as soon as the final boss phase enters, the boss literally chases you across the map the entire time.
Yeah.
And if you try and sit down and hunker in one spot, you'll get sniped by scions, the boss will beam you, and you just fall over.
Mm-hmm.
So once again, there's only two GMs that it's actually worth running. And even then, even in both of them, one is a year one strike, and the other one you kind of just camp in the house area to the left anyway.
Yeah. I think it's B. I think Darcy's B, and I think Darcy's B plus, and Whisper's B because Darcy still gets its own damage increase buff with just looking at something for like 2 seconds, while Whisper you have to like by the time you scope in and look and ready your shot with Darcy, you get the damage buff. But with Whisper, you're zoomed in, you're ready, you're sitting for like 2 seconds, and then you get your damage and flinch reduction. Like Darcy is the more whip it out, pop a couple shields, and then put it away. But it's still I wouldn't run it. I think it's a little bit better than Whisper because it doesn't get ether ammo anymore. Like I just
Yeah, this is your call.
yeah. That is where I would put them because just flat quick damage buff is way better than incredible long range uh constant DPS. Like there's no GMs where it's like Berguzia Forge with the tank. Like that is Whisper in its prime for me. That is what I think of when I think of Whisper. It's what is it? It's that tank, the walker tank that you have to defeat at Bergozia, and you sit all the way up at the entrance and you beam it with Whisper. And that's what I enjoyed the most because anytime I went to Bergozia, I knew I needed my Whisper, and that was great. But there's just nothing like that. I mean, like I could see the argument for the Omnigul strike, so it's not like it wouldn't work with different strikes in the rotation because I love Whisper and all that, but just with this rotation, it doesn't work. Uh,
The rotation this season is a lot more fast paced.
mm, very, very like you gotta zoom. Um,
You gotta zoom, and the enemies for it. would seem like the enemies are a lot more aggressive.
Mm-hmm.
So you can't just whip out Whisper and just hit fire your way to victory.
Yeah. All right. Devil's Ruin. We read
Uh
this yesterday, and let me tell you, it was kind of fun. But I don't know if I'd run it in GMs.
yeah, it is fun. I think not Whisper, freaking Devil's Ruin caps out at 1300s. Solely because it's a sidearm
Mm.
and 1300s and above at that point, you don't want to be getting too close to anything because they will hurt you and
Mm-hmm.
they will hurt you a lot. So Devil's Ruin is probably gonna be in B plus IMO solely because it has Unstoppable on it.
Mm-hmm.
But and then you have the tech where you spray 14 and then you hold down the last and then you get your next 15.
Mm-hmm.
Like it can do a lot of damage. If you get a Sunder proc off of a different weapon, like if you're using a anti-barrier sniper rifle,
Mm-hmm.
which you really should, because anti-barrier sniper rifle is kind of
Kind of
that mod
fucking good.
itself is S tier.
Yeah,
Like,
that mod itself is like, I'm gonna miss it next season.
mhm.
Um, so yeah, I don't have a problem with it in B plus. I had a very
Yeah,
fun time with it, but I definitely was like, I cannot bring this into GMs without
yeah.
building
You get
into it at
fucking
least a
memed
little
on.
bit. Uh,
You get even if you build into it, you can still get fucking memed on because you
oh
have to be
yeah,
so close.
yeah. Because I mean, you know, gun go burr, but gun go,
But enemies go
but
punch.
but gun does not go burr far. I think Div's
Mhm.
S tier. I was using Div
Uh,
yesterday, and you
yeah,
could apply surrendering with Div off of the Div bubble. So
yeah.
you don't even have to like hit crits with Div to get surrendering off, and it stacks on itself. So and it does overload. So I mean, like Div is kind of just sleeper OP. Like I don't use Div on my overload personally because I think there's something better down the tier list line. Uh, but like in the times that I've used it, it's been great. It's just without linear fusion rifle support, which I think just
Praise rifle support.
yeah, or trace rifle, yeah. Um, but I think they just integrated it into the game like as a base thing because I was thinking about it. There's no reason why you should get like 170 shots from a special brick if you're thinking about it. Like I get it's a different class archetype, but it's like that still feels like a lot for like
For
one.
div specifically, it's yeah, that's like 88% of your magazine, 174 or 177.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like one brick gives you so much, especially with div. But I mean, it's just like I don't know. I feel like they need the support to really make them, but right now I feel like div is an A plus. But I feel like if it got scav support and uh, yeah, I think if it got scav support and ammo finder support, it'd be a lot better. But since those don't exist, we're here, and I think it's an A
Yeah,
plus.
so for me personally, I do not run div in most of my high level activities except for raids and word or nothing. And divination is insane either way. Even if you don't use it, the damage buff that you get, the cage, damage buff, the cage damage that you get, and then just constant pressure on fuck.
You good? It's a just constant pressure against stats. Yeah. So I am checking this in 8, and then I will let you finish your thought in a minute. Um, now the next exotic is something that is very close to my heart and very heated topic in our VC a lot of the time. Uh, that is a Dead Man's Tale, and I won't speak too much on it because I know DJ just loves this gun, thinks it's the epitome of balance. But personally, before the Catalyst came out, I thought this gun was fine. I thought this gun was balanced. I I thought Cranial Spike was a little much since it increases body damage as well, non-crit damage. It's just a flat damage increase across the board. Um, I lost my mind when the Catalyst came out. I did. I was like, they really just busted this gun because the only thing that it lacked as a scout rifle and the only thing that beat it out was close range. And that is the downfall of scout rifles within their own. But then you go and make a scout rifle that fires faster from the hip and is not inaccurate from the hip and can increase damage off of headshots. So if your friend went and lost the fight, you can get two tapped from the hip and you just can't do anything. However, that's not important, but it also plays an important factor. Like, Deadman's in PvE is very fun for like quick sustained damage because you can pop off like 5 shots into something that you know is going to be a crit, get Cranial Spike 5, and then just start popping heads with ADS. But it is a scout rifle, so it only has ATB, and when you have ATB sniper, why would you ever run ATB on a scout? That has been my biggest question this season, and the thing is I can't think of another weapon that would fit in the slot, my energy slot, that wouldn't be redundant. Like,
Okay, sorry about that.
you're good.
I return.
You're good. Did you want to finish what you were gonna say about Div real quick before we get into Deadman's? Because I already started going on Deadman's.
Yeah, Div's great. It does damage and it increases your teammates' damage. And it has overload. So you have constant pressure on any champion that you want.
Yeah. Yeah. So, essentially, I was talking about Deadman's in a PvP and how I believe that translates over, and how yes, Deadman's is, I've found at least, good at sustaining kinetic DPS across the board. Because you can just Cranial Spike times 5 and then just start popping heads with the ADS. However, it has ATB, and I couldn't think of anything to run in my energy slot. Do you have any recommendations? Because I just
No,
came out of the
don't
Crucible,
run.
and I don't want to change my loadout.
Yeah. Do not run Deadman's anti-barrier. Scout rifle anti-barrier is terrible if it's on an exotic because it's on an exotic. You can't run other stuff because the only special that gets champ mods is sniper rifles.
Yep.
And then you're stacking double anti-barrier, which is not going to do anything.
Yeah.
Don't run it. If you can run a scout rifle primary, the guiding star from Iron Banner, which is garbage, but you can still run it with Div.
Mm-hmm.
Don't run Deadman's. You're literally shafting yourself because you
Yeah.
don't have any other champ mods if you do. And for high level activities, especially like GMs and stuff like that, you definitely want everybody on your fire team to have 2
Yeah.
at least.
And, like, there's so many better options for your energy slot kinetic that do better than Deadman's and GM's activities. Like, for example, like Stars and Shadow, I feel like is stronger in GM's than Deadman's because it's just an energy pulse rifle that deals good damage and is
And it has
consistent.
Dragonfly. It gets Dragonfly.
And it gets Dragonfly. Like, it is just consistent kinetic damage in a high level activity. Oh, and the cherry on top, it gets unstoppable. So you can run a kinetic sniper like Izzy's if you want and still have ATB. Like, Anti-Barrier Scout with ATB on Sniper as well is just yikes. They should have given Scout Rifles overload this season. I know they gave
It
them,
is it is a bit redundant.
like, I know they gave them, what is it? I know they gave it to them a couple seasons ago, but
Anti-Barrier Scout was last season. I mean,
yeah.
not Anti-Barrier Scout. Overload Scout was last season.
Yeah. But I mean, I feel like definitely then the seasons should have been swapped with Anti-Barrier Scout. I feel like Anti-Barrier Scout would have done better last season and Overload Scout would have been better this season. if that makes sense. But Deadman's in PvE Grandmasters, I would say C tier. C tier or B. Like, in all honesty. Like, you are not going to be
I put
running this.
I put it in B tier solely because the damage from it offsets the fact that it's an exotic scout rifle.
Yeah, but you never run it to begin with to see the damage. Like, that's my point, is it's like you said, you're putting yourself at a, like, huge disadvantage by just equipping it. So why would you ever equip it? Like,
Bro, there's people that'll do worse things. Like it's still better than freaking what is this Skyburner's Oath, and it has no hipfire deviation. You can just shoot it as fast as you can
mm-hmm,
click it. All of that stuff offsets how bad exotic scout rifle is this season.
mm-hmm,
Honestly.
yeah.
So,
Ariana's Val. I think it's just like, I think it's B
Eric,
plus. You gotta kind of build into it, and you can chuck
no,
on
no,
another hand cannon.
no, you don't. You do
Well,
not.
like, personally, I feel like, why would you just chuck on like one hand cannon when you could chuck on two and handle one scav? Like, that's what I'm talking about. Plus, it runs off special.
Yeah, but that's the point. It's a hand cannon. You can
Yes,
run
yes, yes,
double
yes.
hand.
That's what I'm
Listen,
saying. That's what I'm saying. You're like, I would run this in another hand cannon and deal with scavs on the same thing because I'm having double chance to get it because I have two hand cannons equipped.
yes.
We're saying the same thing. You have to build into it
Okay.
a little bit, but
No, you
like,
don't. You
yes.
do. Look, I get it. I understand. I understand what you are saying. Yes, you can build into scavs, but you do not have to build into Arianas because it's a hand cannon. That enhances Arianas, but it does not make it's not necessary. It being on special, having anti-barrier 9 rounds, and it has auto-loading holster is enough to have it in A tier because it has everything you need. Anti-barrier, long range. You don't like snipers, you can use a hand cannon. That's like a sniper, but it's not. It has 9 rounds in the magazine, so you have constant damage, and it has more rounds in it than any sniper rifle you'd have without hitting a triple tap proc on it. And it has natural anti-barrier and its intrinsic perk first glance has increased damage if you're scoped in on a target. So all of that
But
makes Ariana's A tier.
the question is, have you run that damn gun once in a GM?
No, because I don't like
Exactly.
Ariana's. But
Exactly.
I
Like, that's the
personally
thing.
do not like it. But I
Yes,
would run it.
yes, you don't.
I would run
I
it.
wouldn't run it in a GM. I would run it in 1330 max because I feel like damage on snipers and damage overall is way more important. I feel like Ariana's just doesn't do it for me personally. Like, for
I'm
me
it.
personally and overall, I just feel like I could just run a sniper. Like, how much are the odds? Like, I know Richard doesn't use snipers, so I could see Richard really enjoying this gun. But it's like, personally, I don't like think it just deals enough damage on special to compete with like
I respectfully disagree
I,
because sniper rifles cap out at 7 at most, and Ariana has 9, and it has auto loading holster, which no exotic sniper rifle has. That
I'm
you
talking
pop them,
about like
you
I'm talking
swap,
about
you do damage, and you pop them again.
I still I am like I'd rather just run my long shadow, which is a legendary sniper. Like, it's, to me, it's so much more versatile because yes, I still have to hit my crits, but it's like I know I'm going to hit them. Ariana's, I just feel like it doesn't compete, but I could be wrong, and I have yet to be proved wrong. But I don't have a problem chucking it in A. I have not seen anyone run this exotic in this season because anti-barrier sniper is just so much better. Like, I get it has 9 shots. I get first glance is a thing, but I just feel like it gets outpaced because
I respectfully disagree.
the meta is burn champions as quickly as you can. The most popular meta for like any strike is you literally just div a champion and then hit him with 2 Izzies. That is the Grandmaster strat for taking out champions. Like,
I still respectfully disagree. I think you're sleeping on Ariana's Vow because that gun, even though I personally do not like it, I think that gun is actually pretty great.
I'm not denying that it's not pretty great. I'm just denying that it doesn't have the same prestige as a lot of these other guns. But I will try it. I will try it. I will try it. I'm totally fine chucking it an A. I don't know, dude. It's got a sick ornament, so I'm not gonna complain about using it. But Eyes of Tomorrow.
Woefully underpowered.
I mean, yeah, especially in GMs since you got to get like 4 kills.
Yes,
And
you have to get 4 kills.
I
Now that now,
now that may
hello,
seem easy,
hello,
but
video watchers. Yeah, your eyes of tomorrow. Yeah, that shit's ass from GMs. It
1330s, you're tearing it up today. Grandmasters,
You are not tearing shit up at all
there's better things to
because
run for your
everything
exotic.
has yes. The problem with eyes is in high level activity and specifically in GMs and sometimes in Master Nightfalls, a lot of the red bars that you would spray down are actually now yellow bars. And the problem with Eyes of Tomorrow, it does not do damage to yellow bars unless it has adaptive ordnance on. And the only way to get adaptive ordnance in those high level activities is to shred red bars. So can you see where the disconnect is? Yeah, you can shoot a volley of like 6 or 9 rockets, whatever the fuck it is, but it if it doesn't have adaptive ordnance, it doesn't do any damage. That's like the biggest thing about eyes. Yeah, it's cool in Gambit because it has auto tracking and it's stupid,
It's also really
but
cool in 1330s, but I feel like in 1330s or 1300, it's done. It's done. You're like,
I would
man,
I would go as far to say in 1300 it's done because remember 1330s have a lot of yellow bars and they don't die to
yeah.
eyes.
I don't know. I just feel like at a certain point, I'm like the coolness factor wears off, and I'm just gonna run stuff
Oh
that
yeah,
I
you can't
find
forget that
objectively better.
the other part of eyes is you are more prone to killing yourself than you are to killing ads with eyes
Yeah,
because of how the
yeah.
rocket launcher works.
Like you're at a GM proving grounds. You're ready. You've got like 4 or 5 targets lined up on the bridge. You're about to shoot it in the air. Oops! You step too far back and you blew yourself up on the back of the well. Like
That's yeah.
you have
Or
to look
you
straight
someone is
up
using
to make sure that it just doesn't hit you. And then the tracking might not even go right.
someone is yeah, someone's using Ursa and you're a bit too close on them and you blow yourself up because
Or they
you
just
know.
move left and right constantly, and you just can't like find a good opening. Like there's a lot of things that just because it's eyes, it doesn't do great.
Don't let Eyes of Tomorrow's fool you. Yeah, it's great in every activity that is not high level activity.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't even run Eyes in a raid. And it's a raid weapon. I would rather run 1K than I would Eyes. Because 1K's damage doesn't depend on me killing 4 ads.
Yeah,
I
but
can
like
just
in a raid
spray down
environment,
a
it's
freaking
so easy to kill 4 ads. Like you were gonna have
like
the second you get adaptive ordnance once, you were going to be chaining it for the rest of the raid. Like let's
I
be
mean,
real.
yeah, that's true, but like remember that you're still losing out on DPS because you're gonna
Yeah,
use your rockets for
it is
freaking.
like I would take this off immediately. I would take this off for first, second. I'd only use this on descent. Actually, I'd only use this on descent. That's the
Yeah,
only encounter
but
that I would
that's
use
the
it on.
thing. That's
Like, I
you
actually
only
thought
use
about it.
it on one encounter
I actually thought about it, and I was like,
out of
man,
3. Like, why would you cripple yourself using this exotic rocket launcher? Oh boy, it has crazy tracking. Shut up. Rocket launcher is bad in high level activities and raids. Think about Last Wish. Were you using Eyes of Tomorrow on the second encounter? And that's it.
yeah,
Because if you use eyes, I'm sure it will accidentally track to one of the eyes and kill your run.
mm-hmm,
If you use it on Morgav, there's not enough ads to sustain it against Morgav. So you get one adaptive ordnance shot off, and then you're doing basic bitch damage against them.
yeah.
And
I
if
think
you use
I think it's I think it costs more than
sanctified,
it's worth.
yeah, no, you use it against the sanctified mind. There's you. So the only way to make eyes work on Sanctified Mind is if you're on the team that is running to go get motes in the different arenas, and then you get one set of kills, and you literally never pull out Eyes of Tomorrow ever again.
And like,
But remember,
let's just
that encounter is also finicky. So if you mess up once, you can't do anything.
exactly. And let's not joke or beat around the bush here. Instead of being on pulling out eyes on the boat team, you could also just pull out Sub-Zero Salvo and be more efficient. Like, let's be real. Like, this is gonna take so long to get online in high level shit that it's just it gets outpaced by the pinnacle from the season, like, because it has chain reaction. Like, it's just because it has chain reaction, which is stupid, but here we are. Now, the argument that I'm having with myself is, like, I don't want to say C because I feel like it's better than Skyrunners, but I feel like it's falling into the Deadman's and Whisper category more than it is the Darcy and Devil's
Yeah,
Reject.
it's definitely B tier. You have to build so much around to actually make eyes work, and half the time it still doesn't fucking work.
Yeah. Oh, we're getting into the good ones. We can just burn through a lot of these super quick. Gravelance. I think it's in B tier.
I I'm partial against Gravelance. But I'll keep it in B tier.
I think it
I
is the
personally,
bottom of B tier. Do not get me wrong.
yeah,
I think it is the bottom of B tier. But
yeah.
it's just
The
ad clearing potential because it chains. It is the original chain reaction, and except it's just void glob grenades instead of explosions, which is kind of cool in my opinion because it's a delayed detonation instead of immediate, so you can chain a lot more. But GMs it falls off. But I mean,
like
it's
GM's
passive damage when you get
1300s
killed.
is kind of. I mean, it is passive damage, but it's like Gravelance is a scout rifle labeled as a pulse rifle.
Oh
It
yeah.
has two shots, and then its damage is split between 90 is it's a 90-10 split. So, and the way that ads just like move around in the game as is, there's a lot of the time where you will miss either the 10 or the 90, which would give you a kill to actually start procking Gravelins. And you might say, well, Mr. DJ, how do you know? Bro, I have 10,000 kills on Gravelins. I have like extensively used this gun. And I can extensively tell you that unless a strike has a bunch of red bars,
Mm-hmm.
especially in high level activities where it doesn't, a gun is really bad.
Like,
It's just
one of the only strikes that I would potentially run it on is Devil's Lair, and there's no unstoppables, so I can't run it. Like, I feel like in that room, there would be so many ads that it would help, but I also think that they're strong enough that it wouldn't do anything. Like, I'm kind of in that limbo, but I can't test it because if I chuck it on, I'm, like, throwing.
no,
Like,
no, like see, and we'll get to this once we get to this gun. The exception to that rule would be no time because no time is no time, and once we get to no time, I'll explain what that means. However, Graveland shoots way too slow in the meta, especially in high level GMs and shit like that,
oh
where they
yeah.
can just straight up one tap you,
Oh
and
yeah.
you're not doing anything. Sorry,
You gotta play
guns
passive.
ass.
But let me tell you, I have never seen a gun proc sundering faster. Like, let me be real. It procs sundering so quick, and that's its only benefit that I've found so far. Cacaw gun. How do you feel about Cacaw gun?
Hey, that shit's fucking broken. That shit's an S tier.
Yeah, it is. It is. And IMO better Izzy's on primary ammo.
No, it's not IMO better. It's factually on paper better than Izanagi's in every way. Like,
Primary ammo, check. Kinetic slot, check.
yeah,
Increased damage at the end of the mag based on how
wait,
many
hold on.
precision shots you got.
Oh yeah,
Check.
yeah, yeah.
Based
Check.
on those precision shots, do you get increased range? Check. Izzy's whack.
Range, handling, and reload speed. You can't forget the three.
How many
And it
increased
rolls
damage shots do you
with
get?
killing wind.
More than 4.
Yeah.
Like,
So
it
Hawk Moon,
does a lot.
Yeah, Hawk Moon being the gun that it is, rivals the best of them. And why it's an S tier is because Hawk Moon, because the way that it is allowed to do 50k damage as a kinetic hand cannon to most champions. And if you know anything about champions, especially in high level activities, 50k damage is a lot.
Mm-hmm.
It's it's like a third of their health most of the time. And it's now you might say, well, I still have to shoot 7 shots in order to get my max Hawk Moon damage, and that's so difficult in high level activities where everything hurts. Shut up. It's a hand cannon with unstoppable. If something's pressuring you, just unstoppable shot them
And
and stun them.
don't act like Hawk Moon on its own doesn't stun shit. Like it like can knock regular ass ads like back and stun them because the gun's just so strong. Like you like yes, there's like if an unstoppable champion's pushing you, you got deals with it. But like in Insight Terminus, I've domed some gladiators with this that have been charging me. Not even like the end paracostal shots, and they're like, oh shit, and they get stunned, and they get like, what is it? They get like, it's not stunned, but they get staggered. There we go.
They get staggered.
And like it gives you that little bit of breathing room to reposition, and you didn't even have to use the big shot that you can then dish into the boss's mouth. Like it's
Yeah,
just
remember.
so good.
Hold on, let me look this up for so that you guys can get this information. Hawkmoon Light.gg. You ready for this? Hawkmoon has the possibility of rolling with opening shot, disgusting. Rangefinder, disgusting.
That's stupid.
Moving target, disgusting.
That's stupid.
Killing Wind, second best perk in the game, disgusting. Snapshot sights, if you're feeling spicy. Eye of the Storm, if you're feeling spicy. Hipfire Grip, if you're feeling spicy. Quick Draw,
Because grip got the buff, which
yes,
is
Hipfire Grip got the
spicy.
buff, which you would probably won't use as much on Hawkmoon. But if
Mm-mm.
you're feeling yourself and you feel like you can abuse Hipfire Grip,
Pop
spicy.
off.
Quick Draw, which is gonna get nerfed, but it won't matter because it's Hawkmoon. Because Quick Draw stacks on top of its already high handling. Stupid and Surplus, the best perk in the game.
Yeah, it, it rolls
It
with
has
surplus.
access to. It has access to two of the best perks in the game
And
and a bunch of
arguably,
other broken PvP perks.
and I was about to say, and arguably the perks that are most sought after on hand cannons, like snapshot, killing wind, moving target. Like the only thing it doesn't get is a damage increase. But hey, it's Hawk Moon, so you're gonna dome somebody across the map. Like it
Can't
doesn't
forget
matter.
it also has 93 aim assists.
That is true. Uh,
Now on Light.gg, they say that it is 3.8 for PvE. They're lying because they've clearly never used Hawkmoon before, and they're just fanboys of old Hawkmoon because Hawkmoon is broken.
like
Like
for
it's
reference, me and DJ two-man prophecy with Hawkmoon when it came out. Like, and
yes,
we got
only
like we only used Hawkmoon for final boss DPS, and we two-phased him. Right? We
yeah.
like almost like if we had another dude and the right build, we could have potentially
We would have
one-phased him.
one phased them.
Like that's how insane this is. Like I'm I'm thinking about it and I'm like, have I ever run Hawk Moon on Tanix? Because I want to see how much damage I do.
No,
And
I have, and it's a lot because the crit damage. If you get the paracausal shot, I think times it's either 5 or 6. At that point is when it starts one popping the orbs or the booster packs on Tanix, because
yeah,
it's 50k damage.
yeah, yeah, and then, then surplus on top of that. But here we are. Uh, Huckleberry, how do you feel about being my Huckleberry DJ?
Huckleberry is great. It doesn't do anything too crazy. It's an SMG. It's an SMG with original Rampage, I should say that, because Rampage got nerfed pre during Shadowkeep actually. And Huckleberry has original Rampage, so it's the original, I think it's like 30% extra damage instead of the 20 that it has now.
Mm-hmm.
Uh
Which is still
fires
insane.
yeah, as an insane rate of fire. And with the catalyst, any kill you get with Huckleberry auto reloads, like it fully reloads your magazine, like just from getting a kill. So you can just keep spraying, and the faster you shoot, the longer you hold down the trigger, the faster it shoots.
Mm-hmm.
Huckleberry suffers from what most SMGs suffer from. Wrist Runner being the only exclusion from the rule, where
Yeah.
it's like when you're very close to enemies, especially in high level activities, you kind of get domed. But Huckleberry, to offset that, because of the fire rate that Huckleberry is, you can stun lock the enemies more often, but
Mm-hmm.
they have a lot of health, and unless you get your first kill, you're not really going to get far with it.
See,
So Huckleberry,
that's why I think in high level you're just not shredding fast enough a lot of the times.
mm, yeah,
Like I was thinking like low B plus or high B. Like I would put it above Whisper, but below like Devil's Ruin and a couple other things that are coming later.
I was gonna put it in B plus
Yeah, I'm
as
perfectly fine with
another
that because I was
yeah,
thinking
as
here
another
too.
connoisseur, yeah, of Huckleberry. I love the gun. It's a great gun. It was one of the few guns that could actually compete with Recluse while it was
Mm-hmm.
in meta and reliably.
And
But
and the cherry on top, Huckleberry has
mm,
sick ass ornaments. So you are never
Huckleberry
gonna
does
be
have sick ass
upset looking
ornaments.
at this gun. Let me tell you. Oh
Huckleberry does
god.
in fact have sick ass ornaments.
Now, Izzy's. I think Izzy's is solid A tier because simply, if you are having trouble with champions, you and a friend can chuck on this while another friend chucks on Div, and you can two shot the champions. And if you don't have that, oh well, figure something else out. But I feel like Izzy's is kind of always gonna be that. It's gonna. I think it gets the Rat King complex right about now is because it's getting outpaced in the meta by like literally literally adored in Hawkmoon. Uh, but
And Frozen Orbit.
and
Can't
Frozen
forget Frozen.
Orbit, and I haven't tested Long Shadow yet. But Izzy's, you get 20 shots in the mag, 26, and then 32, right? With reserves, I think it gives or 30 because of
I don't
diminishing.
know. I don't use this
I
weapon.
I think that's roughly it. So I mean, I think it's you can get like 4 shots, 5 shots, or 6, and compared to everything else in the game, you're gonna burn through damn ammo. Like this is going to be your champion killing gun and nothing else, and you can't use it for anything else. But there's a lot of times where I'm just whipping out my sniper to deal with ads very quickly and very efficiently because sometimes you're getting overwhelmed incredibly quick and you need to just pop like 4 or 5 red bars to get your control of your part of the map back, and Izzy's can't do that. And like, I feel like if you have that, you have that problem, you're just gonna get overrun super quickly, and then you're gonna be in orbit very soon after. But if you can manage champions and you can manage ads and all that, run Izzy's. If you're having trouble, run Izzy's because Izzy's is good. It's just a damaging sniper, but if you can handle ads and all that stuff, it just falls off. Like you don't really need it once you get to a certain point. Like you discover things that are better, but until you get those things, Izzy's is always a good choice in my opinion. So I mean, I'd chuck it in IB plus honestly, because it is nowhere as good as it was during Season of the Undying, but it is fallen off hard, like hardcore. But yeah, Jade Rabbit.
Hold on. Let me give my 2 cents for
Oh, I didn't
Izanagi's.
know if you had it.
Uh, yeah. So Izanagi's is a bit underpowered, like what Monk was saying. That minus 20% damage that all sniper rifles lost at the start of Season of Dawn last year made a big difference
Mm-hmm.
on why this gun was falling off. And unlike Whisper, you know, Whisper offset that debuff or that nerf because of its catalyst. And while Izanagi's does have a catalyst, and having a times four shot does do increase damage with the catalyst, uh Hawkmoon still does more damage than Izanagi's for less resources.
Mm.
So
And
when
and
you
even Whisper like has 26 shots in the mag or in reserves naturally.
Mhm.
Like that shit's insane to me. Cause yeah, you're using 3 a clip, but you're using 3 a clip that automatically get reloaded, and you have no downtime in your DPS. And he's got to reload after every shot.
Yeah, it's something, all right. Like
It's
Izanagi's just suffers for it being power crept out of the meta. It's still usable,
it's
but
still
when you
usable
compare it
to
to
burn
like
champions in 2 shots.
other guns that are just better,
Yeah,
like why would I ever use Izanagi's when Cloud Strife exists the way that it does? That's the question you
exactly.
have to ask yourself.
And that's why we're making the tier list, because a lot of I see like Izzy's is great, yeah, but I'm there's so much better stuff, and I feel like not a lot of people recognize how much better stuff is in the game, because Izzy's is just there's just been Izzy noises whenever the difficulty goes up, because that's what it used to be all the time, and the meta's still ingrained in that because it's still a little bit too strong in my opinion in certain situations. But yeah, yeah, it's also got some cool ornaments, except the World Shaper ornament. That shit's ass. Jade Rabbit.
Here's the rule: any PvP weapon is automatically C tier because it has no use in high level activities.
Yep.
Jade Rabbit, even if it gives you infinite ammo from the ether, is not useful because it's too slow, and it's a scout rifle, so you suffer from the same thing Deadman's has. However, Deadman's is just straight up better.
Yeah.
Sorry, have fun.
Not fun. Uh, Laminate.
Lament is in it's in high B tier, low B plus tier
Yeah, that's
because
exactly what I was thinking. Like right about here, because
yeah,
it whispers better, but it's better than Dead Man's. Like,
yeah.
like
So here is a problem with Lament, much like most swords in high level activities. You don't want to be that close to
yeah,
literally any enemy
yeah.
in any high level activity.
Like
If you run up to something and try and lament it, even if you regen your health per hit, it is not enough to stop a boss from stomping you and killing you.
like perfect example is, in my opinion, run a Master Lost Sector, because if you just run at a champion with a sword out, he's gonna like two zap you. Like, like I'm thinking of Endless Veil, that barrier knight that's on the platform on right side, and me just going, I'm gonna run at him with Lament, and him just icing me. Like that's all I can see. And then same with the Unstoppables. I'm like, I stunned him. I'm gonna get in there for DPS, and I get like 3/4 of the way there, and he starts coming off of stun, and I'm like, well, what am I to do but die? Like,
Like
it
there are
puts you in
some
precarious situations more often than it helps you.
yeah, there are some law sectors, for example, that you can get away with running lament.
Oh yeah,
Uh like Conceal Void is one of them, but there's still
but at the same time,
lament
but
is
at the
high
same
risk.
time,
It
that
is high risk, low reward a lot of the time.
yeah. But I mean that
Yeah,
lost
it
sector is
does
kind of
damage.
sleeper though.
Yeah, that law sector is sleep, but that's a sleeper law sector, and that's the only way lament can be
Exactly,
worth something.
exactly. I was, I was putting it. We need to make it exhaust. We need to make a fucking lost sector tier list. That's gonna be on the feed soon. So y'all know when to grind, when it's super easy, or when you want to put some hairs on your chest. Uh, DJ has been a last word connoisseur recently. How would you feel about a GM run with the last words
Last word,
before it.
I will say the same thing I said about Jade Rabbit. Last word is a PvP gun and it has no place in the GM meta.
Darn, I wanted to get a run in with all three last words. Damn.
You will literally die.
um, Layman Art, S tier. S
Yes,
tier.
I also agree. Well, I personally have not used
I
Lemonade
don't
this
I don't think
season,
it's better than Cloud Strike. Let's get that.
but
But I think it's
yeah,
better than Hawk Moon.
yeah.
For
There's just no argument
like
about Lemonarch and how strong it is right now.
if any season that has Overload Bow on it, Layman Art is immediately S tier. Any season that doesn't have Overload Bow, which won't be much because Overload on Bow is the most consistent, and it's really the only thing that Bow can have, IMO. So like Bo might be able to get anti-barrier, and if Bo gets anti-barrier, Layman Arc is like if bows have any support at all, Layman Arc is immediately S tier because it does damage over time, it does area denial, it does area damage over time, and it stops champions from regening. Period. That is it. That is the bar. Like you're having trouble with overload captains like Devil's Lair, the captains that run out while Ghost is hacking. If you're having trouble keeping them damaged because they do run around the corner a lot, if you're holding near the entrance, they do run around that left corner a lot and they do jump down into the kind of gutter a lot. But since Layman Arc is constantly dealing damage to them, you're not going to have a lot of regen, if any, when that captain repeaks. And that is so important and so vital for your entire team, so you're not dumping ammo into an overload captain that's just teleporting around. It it is so good. And it I'm so happy that it's good because I love that bow. And
Lemonarch has
it's
been really good for a long time, and just what with Overload being on both this season, it really has gotten its chance to shine because it has been sleeper for a very long time, and just like Overload and stuff like that really fluctuate the power of what Lemonarch can do. It's one of the few bows in the game that actually can area deny and we'll get to this once we get to Trinity Ghoul, but it's effective area denial all the time. Then once you hit your tempo with perfect shot, it does more damage. The tick damage AoE is bigger, and it just once you get a roll with Lemonarch, you just keep rolling with it.
and the best thing is with Sundering Glare, the poison almost hits for 1,000 damage a tick, and it ticks multiple. I feel like it ticks 2 or 3 times a second. Like the DPS on that is like similar to the Thorn Burn. Like it's literally Thorn Burn but purple IMO. It explodes. Like I think it's the same amount of tick damage that Thorn does. So that amount of tick damage that frequently at that high of an interval, you just shred through overload captains and overload minotaurs. Literally, this does not let them play the game. If you're upset and you want to take out your anger, lay Monarch on overload champions. You'll feel like a new guardian. I'll tell you what. All right.
That is true.
Levy's breath.
Levies?
I was thinking A plus, A plus or
Yeah.
S.
I would put it in man, because that's actually kind of hard. I'll put it in A. I would say A plus now,
I
and
was
then if
thinking.
we get new information, we can flex it into S.
I was thinking
Because
here.
yeah, you can put it above Crimson. Because one of the biggest things about Levy's pre-Catalyst was all right because it got 10 shots, but
Mm-hmm.
post-Catalyst with it getting 15 shots, and then double scabs giving it 17 shots, it's a lot of. You can now use levies for DPS
Yeah.
versus levies is strictly only for unstoppables, like it was pre-season of the hunt.
Mm-hmm.
Because what levies, what's great about levies is much like Lemonarch, it is straight up area denial, but in a different way. Rather than hitting an enemy, it does explosion plume damage. You hit an enemy and it knocks them all off the map. That's like the main thing about Leviathan's breath. And there's also AoE unstoppable stun, so you
Mm-hmm.
can just hit the ground next to an unstoppable without actually hitting them, and it'll still stun them.
And we forgot to mention that about Lane Bernard. Like, if there's an ad that's right next to the Overload Champion and the Overload Champion's behind a wall, ice that fucking ad and the fucking poison will just stun the Overload. Like, these bows are so good and they just never get used, IMO.
Yeah.
Like, because everybody's just like, other metas and other shit, but like these are arguably better than a lot of things that people are saying is in the meta. Now, Lumina. I was gonna put it
Uh,
low B plus because of Dawn Chorus and well builds. Because the utility, it's so nice. Like,
if we're going like that, I would put it in A then. Because you
but I
don't
mean, you
even
gotta get the
without it.
Noble rounds. That's like my thing. Is
Yeah, but it's still
how
hand
often are
cannon.
you gonna run and go get Noble rounds though?
I mean, you wouldn't do it often, but there's still like in some situations there are. No, there has to be a B plus then because I'm trying to think because there are some situations where you can get the noble rounds because
Yeah.
ads will run up on you,
Mm-hmm.
but the amount of times that that happens versus like
Like,
actually being alive because you have to keep your distance, especially in high level shit,
mm-hmm.
is not is
Like,
not it's
it's
not
not
safe.
on
It's just not
fire
safe.
or it's I was thinking it wouldn't work in Insight Terminus, but I could make an argument for it in Arms Dealer really well because Arms Dealer you're getting pushed, you're pushing, you control a lot of the map based off of ad spawns and stuff like that. Like for example, we play left side a lot, like we stay on that catwalk when we do Arms Dealer. But if you rotate and take out the green guy, you can have that whole top platform to yourself, and that's just because you've shifted the arena. That's what I love about Arms Dealer is because you can kind of control how you do the strike a lot of the times, and that's indicative of a good strike. Like that's what I kind of liked about Proving Grounds is we made our stake in that tank and we said we are not going to move and we are going to beat y'all's ass, and that is exactly what we did. Yes, it was hard as shit, but I expect it to be hard as shit. It's a grandmaster. Like that is how it's supposed to feel. But like Arms Dealer where the ads are constantly spreading out and then convulsing and then all that, you can find a tempo where it could work. But it's stuff where you gotta sit back, keep yourself alive. I wouldn't run it. But um yeah, I that is like exactly where I would put it, if that makes
All right.
sense.
Yes, Mug.
Yes.
Take a note of the time. I need you to cut this because I need to ask you something.
Okay. Is
All
it
right.
hold on.